Hey, this is Lorena, and I wanted to do a video for you on how to put a quilt top together. This is beginner friendly, and I just wanted to do a tutorial on how I put those scrappy quilt blocks that I did a couple days ago. I'll put a link up here if you want to see how I did the scrappy quilt block. But I want to share with you what I did with those scrappy quilt blocks and how I made just a simple quilt top. So I really do thank you for watching, and let's continue and put this together. All right, let's do that. All right, now that you have all your quilt blocks done, you're going to go ahead and lay them out either on a design wall, or you can lay them out on the floor. I don't have a design wall because I don't have that much space, so mine is on the floor. I went ahead and I laid them out the way I thought they would look the best. I used probably a pattern, a color, and then a neutral, kind of put it around here and there, and I switched it to see which look better. This is the time when you decide how you want your quilt top to look. After you do that, I ended up making 3 rows, and then I laid those stacks on top of each other so I wouldn't get confused. Now you can label them if you want. I just kind of layer them and bring them to the table and then start working on one row at a time. All right, now that you have everything and you know kind of what you want to do, I recommend you take a picture too. It really does help on this design process, how you want your quilt top to look. I ended up getting my 3 blocks and laying them out and kind of sitting on the table so I could visually see them. After I did that, I got the first block and I laid it on top of the other one. Now, there's certain areas where you're going to connect the seams, and this is where you're going to make sure that your fabrics kind of snug up together. In certain areas, you don't have to worry about connecting the seams, but in certain spots you are. So make sure that you rub them together and then you fold the fabric over and then you put a pin. That's how I do it. I recommend you do a pin on each side so it doesn't shift on you. I did 1 pin on the seam and sometimes it shifted, so I would have to refix it, but it doesn't matter. It's beginner. It's a beginner. Now I also did that on the other side, or the other block in the center. I went ahead and I folded it over and I pinned on that connecting seam and got that fabric ready. After I did that, I went on the sewing machine and I started sewing the first block to the second and just went ahead and sewed a straight seam. And then after I did that, I started sewing the 3rd block to the 2nd block and I sewed all the way down. And that's what makes a row. When you make yourself a row, I recommend that you iron your seams in one direction, because those are going to be the new connecting seams to the 2nd row. Now every single row you build exactly the same way, so I'm not going to show this 4 different times, but each time that's how I build each row. Okay, all right, now you have 2 rows ready to go. I tend to build the first row, then build the 2nd row, and after I build those 2 rows, I go ahead and I put them together. I kind of like building a row, and if I already have one done, adding the row to each other. This kind of gives me a lot of momentum and finishing, okay? That's why I do it. So you can build all your rows and then connect them together, but I just do it this way, and it's just really preference. There's no wrong or right way in doing this. Now, you see in this video that you're going to have several connecting seams. You're going to have connecting seams where your block's connected, and also you're going to have connecting seams where you have 4.5-inch squares that need to connect to the other 4.5-inch squares. So just make sure that you rub all your seams, and just went ahead and sewed a straight seam, and I sewed all the way down. After I built in row number 3, I started adding it to the first 2 rows, and I did the same thing, connecting all the seams together, making sure everything lines up. What I ended up doing is I build only 9 or 3 rows, which were 9 blocks, and I felt like the quilt would be too small because I wanted a little bit bigger, so I added a row. So I'm going to share with you a picture of those 3 rows, and I'm going to also add a picture of what it looks like, the quilt top looks like with the 4th row. And I'm just sharing that at this current time. I am going to do a whole another video on what the border will look like, or how you add a border, because this border has 3 borders on it with a little bit of scrappiness on it. And so yeah, that video will come up soon. I really do thank you for watching. And if you want the instructions on this block, Scrappy block, please go to Lena's Quilting Facebook group. And it's a free PDF download. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.